Hello and welcome to Nollywood Fellow channel where I take you through Nollywood films. But today I'm not going to take you through a Nollywood film. Today I have a very interesting, very talented and hilarious man with me. He's recently come out with a Netflix special called Teetotaler and it's on Netflix. Please allow me to welcome SLK. So SLK,
Woo!
thank you so much. SLK, your name is Olu Salako, and SLK comes from Salako. Is that how it is?
Yes,
So,
actually.
so Salako, is that your first name or is that your surname?
That's my surname, that's my last name.
And your first name is
Olu.
that's a short for something, right?
Yes, it's actually longer than that, but I doubt you'll be able to pronounce it.
No, I'd like to hear it.
Olu- Let's try it. Oluwapomile.
Oluwapomoli.
No, Oluwapomile.
Oluwapomile.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. No,
Not bad, not bad.
it's only recently that I've got to know that most of these the traditional Nigerian names or especially Yoruba and Igbo names, which are of decent size, are actually of decent size because they're short forms of bigger
Yeah,
names.
exactly.
So I find that pretty interesting. And to begin with, I'd like to thank you for taking out time for this. And more than that, I'd like to thank you for finding my message amidst all the fan mail and marriage proposals and nudes that you would be getting.
I wish. But yeah, thank you so much. I mean, when I saw it, I could tell that you were serious about what you were doing. I felt like, oh, why not?
Thanks a
I've
lot.
never I've never actually done an interview with an Indian before. Actually, first time for
That's
me. So
amazing. That's amazing. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for accepting this. So, how has the response been so far? From what I can see on Twitter, I can see like praises coming from all quarters. There's Beard and Steven tweeting about you. There are people from all over. How has it been?
well, it's been awesome. The reception, considering the fact that comedy special is not so popular here in Nigeria yet, and so um, the reception has been massive. A lot of people are now saying, I'm very excited about the fact that a lot of people are seeing stand-up comedy for what stand-up comedy truly is, as against what has been peddled around as stand-up comedy here.
I
So
get
we're,
it.
we're beginning to get to the true art form, the artistic expression of stand-up comedy, and people are coming to appreciate that, especially within in Nigeria. I've been getting a lot of mails from Ghana as well,
That's nice.
from yeah, of course, from India, from other parts of the world. So, but majorly Nigeria. So, yeah.
Niger boy, where they go for real. I hope I've said that right.
You know the very last name.
Okay. So, how did you get into this, into stand-up comedy? Like, have you always been like the funny guy in school, or how did it all begin?
Interestingly, I always say I was never the class clown. However, I
Exactly.
was
I,
because
I,
stand-up
I,
comedy is a,
sorry, sorry.
yeah, you're going to say.
No, no, I said I could make out that you were not the class clown because there's this amount of intelligence that it takes for a good, that sort of observation. You were the guy who was sitting behind and observing the class clown.
True, 100%. You're very correct. I feel stand-up is very introspective, and so as it is with a lot of great comics, they're usually um quite introspective about things. Just they observe closely, and maybe so I'm not the life of the party as it were, because I don't even go out at all. But I see stand-up comedy almost similarly to, or in a similar fashion as ministry, for example, like pastoral ministry. I see there's some sense of calling. And I think Chris Rock also shared one time in one of the interviews of how he felt the calling to be a comedian. He used that word. And it actually resonated with me because it was kind of like that. I mean, I've been tending towards that as a kid. Every uncle or family friend that comes to the house must tell me a joke. I don't, you know how people ask for cookies or chocolate? I used to ask for a joke.
Uh,
And so you tell me a joke. I used to love listening to jokes and hearing jokes. I was growing up. in secondary school, I was writing jokes.
Mhm.
But when I got to university, I felt it dawned on me that I really needed to do something. And I joined the theater group then, and it was obvious that this was where I was supposed to be. And so I took it up, and the rest they say is history.
Amazing. So you've done engineering, which is interesting, right?
Nice.
What branch was it?
I was studying electrical and electronics engineering in Covenant University.
But having studied science, it somehow does help in a creative pursuit. Do you find?
Obviously, apparently, the testament to this is I can tell, at least from my department, from my university, I can tell off the top of my head 6, 7, 8 comedians that actually came from electrical electronics engineering. Oh my
Wow.
God, the BA. There are quite a bunch of them, and I don't know. It stems from the fact that comedy. I think it's a testament to the fact that comedy involves a lot of brain work,
True, true.
to say the least. And of course, because of mathematical analysis, we tend to. I mean, a lot of comedy has to do with observational analysis in itself. And so, if
Yeah.
A equals B and B equals C, therefore A implies C, and that's what we do
Okay.
in stand-up. Majorly, we
Correct.
just we just join things that people don't really think about.
Correct. It's more about patterns and it
Mm.
gives a certain method to the madness, is what I believe.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. And talking of which, you've had this very popular guy on popular character on Instagram called Boda Wasiu. Am I pronouncing that right?
Boda Wasiu, yeah.
Is that a Hausa character? Or, what's
No, it's a
the
Yoruba. It's
is
Yoruba, but he speaks English more often,
okay,
but
okay.
with the Yoruba accent.
All right, all right. Oh, okay. I thought Hausa because of. I mean, everything I know of Nigeria, I know from your movies. So the
That's
get
that's amazing.
the
That's the power of entertainment, actually. The power of art.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and the costume is what made me feel that maybe it's a Hausa man. So that's why I mixed the two. So yeah, yeah. So tell us more about Boda Wasiu. So how did you come up with it? What was the whole thing behind
So
it?
I've always looked for ways to channel my art. When I was in secondary school, I used to write jokes in a book. Jokes, not just jokes, thoughts. It felt like a magazine. As a matter of fact, I remember some girls or people in my class asking for my magazine to take home so that they can read my book. Because there
Oh,
were just a lot of things there, like that were entertain you, jokes, just a lot of stuff. And that was me in my secondary school with the resources I had. Even big, as a BlackBerry,
mm-hmm.
I had voice notes on BlackBerry that I was broadcast to all my contacts that were hilarious. And so I said all of that to say that every opportunity I get, every platform I see, I use it for my art. And so inevitably, when Instagram came with the videos thing, it was only a matter of time. And I started to do skits. I actually must have toyed with a lot of characters, but I was just stuck in the minds of a lot of people. And it came to stay. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful character because it encompassed a lot. Apart from the fact that it had an indigenous feel to it, from costume to accent and one or two Yoruba lines. So satirical. So I used to talk about things that were trending at the time, things that were especially political or just in the news, things in the news. And it was infused with a lot of word plays, a lot of sarcasm, a lot of similes and metaphors. And so that kind of like drew people to it, and people thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. And here we are.
The wordplay is crazy over there. I've been through some of them, I must say. And what I like about your wordplay is that I mean, not many people are in favor of puns. They say pun is the lowest form of wit and all of that. But what I like about your wordplay is the context. You give it such an intelligent context that it is immiscible. Coming back to Boda Wasiu, there is a catchphrase that is there. If I say it in my accent, it would sound obnoxious.
I would like to hear you try, actually.
Omorebi, okay. In my own accent, okay. I don't think I can do it in my own accent, you know. Omorebi Custard, you are not a bastard. Okay, that's the Indian.
And it actually sounds nice. It actually sounds nice. Omorebi Custard, you're another bastard.
What does it mean?
That way from now on.
What does it mean?
Omorebi Custard. How do I put it? So in Nigeria, in Yoruba land, if there is a particular food called pounded yam, is like the best food in the Southwest, almost unarguably the most elite. And so when they say Omorebi Inyo means pounded yam. Omorebi Inyo is a popular phrase meaning that you are so good like pounded yam.
Okay.
So
okay.
I replaced the pounded yam there with Custard, and I rhymed it with "You're not a bastard." I say it was Omorebi Custard, you are not a bastard. Just look at you. And so it was like a catchphrase of the character Boda Wasiu, and it actually made a lot of sense because at that time there were not many skits that had catchphrases. There were not many skit characters that had catchphrases, and so it kind of caught on, like, oh, Omorebi Custard, you're not a bastard. And it was inadvertent. It wasn't intentional, to be very honest. Because the first skit was just supposed to be me mimicking how Yoruba people, I was doing a comparison between Igbo sugar daddies and Yoruba sugar daddies. That the Igbo sugar daddies are straight to the point. They buy you the house, they buy you the car. But Yoruba sugar daddies sugarcoat everything, like talk, they compliment you, give you and not give you anything. And so they give you all the best lines. Like, Omorebi Custard, you are not a bastard. Look at you. And that thing stuck with people. And so it now became a thing.
Interesting. And you start your stand-ups also with that now.
I've been doing stand-up since 2009.
Okay. And talking of which, what's the stand-up comedy scene in Nigeria been like? I mean, you yourself said that people are not really familiar with stand-up, and but I do know that Nigeria loves comedy because all the highest-grossing films are comedy. But stand-up, and I was also surprised. I mean, even going through your Twitter, I saw many people were like, "How come I've never heard of SLK before?" So. What is the scene like? What's it been like? Where do you see it going?
Okay, I'm going to try and be very diplomatic about it. So, stand-up comedy was very strong in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. We had Night of 1,000 Laughs, even up until early 2010s. We had Stand Up Nigeria. Like, people were vibing to stand up, but there was a time around the early 2010 period where things began to plummet with stand-up because it's a particular set of people glamorized it more than it should have been. They started to make events out of it. They started to water down the arts to promote the attendance by way of making it more glamorous. You get what I mean? They had red carpets, they had tables, they had food in tables, they had artists, they had 1,000,001 comedians on the bill and 1,000,001 artists to perform. So most stand-up comedy shows that sprung up started to become like variety shows, in all honesty, or concerts. And so people would go, they know they will go for a comedy show, they know they will have a few laughs because the comedian will come and perform for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. But they will also dance to Tiwa Savage or Davido or Wizkid. And that, I don't know whether they noticed, started to kill the art form itself.
Okay.
Because now people started to forget what stand-up is, the core of stand-up, which is the art form itself, social commentary and all of that. That's why we have a lot of people now surprised that why would you say such a thing? I'm like, that is what stand-up is.
Correct.
And so there was a lull at some point. However, I'm excited about the trajectory, which is why I'm excited about Teetotaler on Netflix. Because now people are coming back to
Correct.
the art form itself. The fact that you can use words, you can use callbacks, you can set up punchline, talk about things that happen in the society for over an hour. And people are now coming back to the fact that this is actually an art form. And we have a young army of comedians, young guys ready to do that, armed with jokes, armed with audacity, and um, they're giving other comedians a run for their money.
Nice. And I've also read that you have started your own comedy club as well over there.
Yes.
So that's in Lagos.
Yes, is in Johnny Rockets. It's called JJC, Jokes, Jabs, and Chills.
Okay. And so you have open mics, or how does it work?
So it's basically open mic. It's actually a platform for young comics to try out the materials, start of their career. As a matter of fact, we've actually had a couple of people that had their first performances ever on my platform, and that gives me a lot of joy. Because on that same platform, we've had people like Ali Baba, we've had people like Sheyilo, we've had people like Kenny Black, we've had some of the more established comedians. And so it's like a melting pot. It's like a meeting point of both the new and the young.
So besides stand-up comedy, have you been doing other things? I mean, you're there in this one series called Becoming Abby, right?
Yes, I was.
So,
I was in Becoming Abby.
do you act a lot? Is there Nollywood? Are there serials?
Interestingly, I was a kid actor. I acted first in 2001. My father was into movies, Christian movies, anyways, and
Okay.
so I guess that was so. I said that to say that my first foray into art was movies, and yeah, I played lead in the web series called During Ever After. It's actually on YouTube. It's a
Okay.
series. Yeah, I played lead. I've played a lot of roles. I was in Daluchi. I was a supporting actor in Daluchi. I was in another Father's Day. That was cameo. I was in a case of Free Will, which was on Iroko. I mean, I've been on a couple of movie projects. However, my series is coming out. We've shot that. It's ready. I wrote and produced that, and also starred in it. Is the next project coming out from SLK's platform.
Amazing. So is it going to be?
We shot that last year.
Sorry. Please continue.
So we shot that last year, and we're bringing it on a streaming platform very soon, much sooner than you expect.
Can you disclose the streaming platform?
No, we don't know yet. We're still on that. So once that is confirmed, it will definitely be announced.
Sounds good. So have you been getting a lot of roles right now after Teetotaler has come out? Has the phone been ringing from Nollywood, or has it been?
Well, not yet. We're still pushing Teetotaler. So all attention is on pushing Teetotaler, such that we're even pushing it beyond the walls of Nigeria, way beyond the walls of Nigeria. We're looking at more international gigs, more international touring, all of that. But yeah, I was at the AMVCs last night, incidentally, and I met a couple of directors, a couple of actors, and it was just a time to network. Yeah.
How was the award
I'm surprised
ceremony?
you were not there. I'm surprised you were not at the AMVCs last night.
Maybe next year, hopefully.
Okay. Have you been to Nigeria before, though?
Never.
Wow.
So yeah, and talking of which, Nigerian entertainment is going places like Nollywood movies in streaming platforms. It's making it to the top 10 in US, UK. Like I guess last week or the week before that, Rema was performing in India to a crowd of people who maybe did not even know about the existence of pidgin language, but they were all singing in pidgin back to him. And
wow.
And what you have done is you have broken a glass ceiling for stand-up comedy by taking
pushing it.
yeah, by taking it global. And to all the viewers, if you haven't seen Teetotaler, you are soliloquizing your life. Now you have to watch. You have to watch
That's
the
an inside
special to
joke.
know what that means.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. So what do you feel about this whole wave of Nigerian entertainment that's going global? Do you think it's just a phase, it's the beginning, or it's a peak, or where do you see it as of now?
I think it's just the beginning. Nigerians are some of the most talented people on earth. We've always known that. We just needed the world to see it. And with the advent of social media, it was only going to be a matter of time. Nigerians are some of the most talented people in the world, especially when it comes to the arts, movies, music. Our songs are
Music.
topping charts, and it's
Yeah.
just the beginning. I never see it dying anytime soon because a lot of young acts are just springing up almost on a daily basis, and we will soon have that for stand up as well. Now that we're pushing, we have two specials now on the global scene, including mine, and so
Yeah.
we have people from America watching Nigerian stand-up comedy. Don't forget that one of the beautiful things about art, like you're, of course, you're a testament to that, is that it's a very good way to export culture. It's a very good way for people to know. Like I knew about O.J. Simpson from Chris Rock. I knew what the South African anthem sounds like from Trevor Noah. And so comedy is actually a very, very potent way of exporting our culture, exporting our ideals, our ideologies to the world at large. And I think Teetotaler actually did that. You heard a bit of Yoruba
Yeah.
in the special. You heard some places Ojo Elegba, Whiskey sang about Ojo Elegba too as well, a song that went really, really global. And so with that, we are beginning to market our places, our like people making, and I hope the government sees this and taps into it more, whereby it's like we're drawing people to us. I foresee a time where our Dirty December will be a global tourist center. It's already turning that way because in my comedy club last December, there were a couple of people that were just coming to Nigeria, and I get that a lot. They came to Nigeria just for December, and if we're able to maximize it, it might actually be we might be sitting on a gold mine, as it were, when it comes to tourism. Especially what we call Dirty December is where artists have concerts. Whiskey will have a concert, Davido will have his concert, Tiwa Savage, like a whole week drum like that, and it's actually a huge thing in Lagos. And so if the government taps into it right, it might actually be a situation where people are coming every December from all around the world just to see Rema, Wizkid, and Tiwa Savage in one breath.
Wow, it's interesting. So, is comedy also part of this thing as of now, or
Personally, I think December is a bad time to do stand up.
okay?
Personally, I feel that there's always that merriment in the air, and people will just want to party and not sit down and listen. However, some
Uh,
people have done it with huge success, and so I might be very wrong. However, generally, comedy is also pushing. That's what we are doing. We're pushing the art as well, such that as we're exporting our music, as we're exporting our movies, we're also exporting our stand-up comedy. It might be a little more difficult though, because with music is universal. Like you said,
yeah.
very few people in India understand pidgin or know what pidgin is, but they sang along because of the melody, because of the vibe. But
Correct.
with comedy requires a specific kind of response, and if you don't understand what is being spoken, you will be lost. And so it's more difficult to actually sell our comedy out. So we have to actually pay much attention to the language and try to make a global appeal. But however, it's only difficult; it's not impossible.
But what I could feel from your comedy was that, of course, I was laughing throughout. I got most of it. When it came to the politicians, I didn't know any of them. So
Beautiful.
I wasn't laughing then, but even though I wasn't laughing, I was still relating because all of that, it's a very global thing. So everything that you've said there, it's global. And in your previous stand up, you had this whole thing of Nigerian parents going after unmarried kids. You changed Nigerian to Indian, you have a run, you have a selling show over here. So that's
Very
a
true.
beauty of it, right? So yeah, so I guess yeah, we're coming to the end of this, and I'll just while we wind up, I'll just go back to a joke that you said in that you started your previous special with. And the joke was that you're performing at Madison Square. Now, I don't think that's a joke anymore. I think that is happening soon. You will be performing at Madison Square, Wembley, Geo Gardens, Mumbai, to a full crowd.
Very soon, coming to India.
Yes, yes. And when you come to India, we'll have a beer together. Oh, I'm sorry. You're a teetotaler. Yeah.
Nice one. That was really nice. Really nice.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great fun having you here. And
I had a great time. I didn't even think that a Zoom call would actually be this interesting.
so this is your first Zoom interview?
My second, actually,
Okay.
but first going on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Cool. So yeah, I hope to meet you in person sometime and see you enacting on stage in some corner of the world, either here, Nigeria, wherever it is. I'm really looking forward to that.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to that as well.
I wish you all the best with may you keep getting a larger and larger following, and all the best to your upcoming series and your upcoming stand-up comedy acts as well.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot.